So good morning, everybody. Welcome. So this is day 4. We're going to do processing today. And I was just sort of flag with those that are here live that we're going to run a short process. And yesterday we talked about patterns and we talked about triggers and contractions. And so today we're going to look at, well, how do we actually process these? How do we actually move or release that energy that's been trapped inside? And so we'll run a process. So if anybody here has something that they would like to process, and I appreciate it takes some level of vulnerability. So we may not go super deep into it today, but I just want to offer the opportunity to demonstrate it. And if we don't get the opportunity to fully complete the process with the volunteer, then I'm offering to catch up one-on-one and we'll complete the process, just the two of us. But it's good to have an awareness around, well, how do we actually move this stuck energy? So let me just share my slides and we'll get started. Right, so we're talking about process today. We've been going through like a model. We've covered off meditation, we've covered off sleep and recovery, we've covered off patterns. Today we're just going to loop back and we're going to talk more about the healing component, which is part of pattern breaking. Oh, sorry, I realized that I'm at the end of my slides. It looked a bit odd. Here we go. Can you guys see that? The slides okay? Yep. Sweet. All right. And so yesterday we did patterns, which we looked at patterns, thoughts, feelings, and emotions. The invitation was to start completing your daily log. I was tuning in on you guys. So the goal that I sort of was probing, like, what do you want to get out of this program? It's something that you can put in your log. And it's an opportunity to see how we use the log. The log is powerful because it's an interest.
Did we lose him?
Yeah, I thought it was me. But...
Hi, I'm back. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. My internet dropped out for some reason. So I just had to change connections. So let me just get back to where I started. Technology is awesome when it works. guys, one moment, just going to share my screen. Yay, okay, back into it. And so we meet the present moment with however it's arriving, and it's like learning to interact with it, learn to relate to it. So the daily log, it's an interoceptive look at what's happening for you, what code you're running, where you've been triggered, how your habits support the goal that you're working towards. And then the habit that I'm encouraging you to develop is to pay attention throughout the day where you're contracting, because that's like a gateway into your shadow. That's the opportunity that we're looking for, to learn where it is that you are holding stuff that we can heal. And then we finish with the meditation, releasing emotion. The last couple of days have been starting with a short meditation on meeting the moment through emotion and feeling that. And thanks, Ivan, you sort of suggested that can be challenging because the tendency is to think as opposed to be feeling. And so I wanted to start just doing it a couple of minutes again, but this time, in those couple of minutes that we spend dropping in and connecting to the moment, I would like to again connect to what we're feeling, but as a deepening of this, again reconnecting with feeling, because that is the tendency. Like we've resisted feeling so much that we tend to think more. We've been pushed up into our head, and so we want to connect with the qualities of feeling. So the invitation is close your eyes, and we're just going to do a couple minutes here and just meet the moment through feeling again. And so tuning in, like, what are you feeling in this moment? And then see if you can label that with, like, what is the emotion that's there for you? What are you feeling? What's present for you? And once you label that, see if you can extend the qualities of what that actually is. For example, if it is like anxiousness, what are the qualities of anxiousness? Does it feel tight in the body? Does it feel contracted as opposed to expansive? Does it feel connected or disconnected? Does it feel still or agitated? And that's an example with anxiousness, but whatever you're feeling, maybe it's open, you feel open, and what are the qualities of open? Is it expansive or contracted? Is it alive, or is it, again, contracted? Is it busy? Is the mind busy, or is it still? And so we start paying attention to the qualities. And in this, we're learning to feel again. So this is something that I want you to play with in the coming days. It's connecting with the qualities of the moment. We use emotional feeling as a lead into that. So for now, though, I invite you back into our present shared space. Thank you for going there. And it's just another adding a little bit more depth to that short little practice of meeting the moment that we've been playing with. Just tuning in our challenge arena. I was looking at this morning, and there's a dark horse that's taken the lead of our challenge leaderboard. Ivan has knocked me off my perch. Ivan, I haven't meditated yet today, but I'm just saying that I may take the reins back unless you have another sit. But let's give him a little bit of love. Well done, man. You were actually topped the leaderboard, 7 meditation sessions. He's nearly done 5 hours. It would be he's done a daily log as well. Like, dude, you're performing, man.
That's amazing. Well done.
Yeah. This is about building the habits, right? And the opportunity with the platform is to support each other to do that. Like we've been saying, we're creating something together here. It's not just me sharing knowledge with you. We're actually building something together. So Ivan, well done, brother. Also recognizing Kelly,
Thank
Jack,
you, guys.
Katya, Haley, there's just noting that Haley's beating Mark, her husband. Just saying. Kyle. There's also one caveat to that. Sometimes the Muse, if you're meditating with a Muse meditation device, it can take 24 hours to pull the data through. So there's maybe some more data updates to happen in here. But just want to acknowledge those people that have been doing the work. Magic is in doing it. We're building the habits. It's like I can't do your meditation for you. And so keep going. That's what I've done the last couple of days. I wanted to just share, invite somebody that's people that have been through programs with me, someone that's currently in a program, just to share their experience so that, again, it's not just me saying this stuff. By hearing other people's stories, you get validation that, okay, this is something that's worth doing, that's worth following. So I wanted to invite Jack. Jack's currently doing the Becoming Exponential program, just to share a little bit about your story or what you've experienced, Jack, throughout the program.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop share. I'm going to put you on the spotlight, man, if that's cool.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, for me, like the contraction sessions have been really good. Getting pretty deep in a lot of stuff that isn't easy to do, but once you start get flowing with Troy, you make it really easy, Troy, just to label what the thing is that's potentially causing pain right now. You label it, and then you just look the emotion underlying it, and you just kind of explore where that's coming from and why it might be present. And that process for me, just like going through each step, maybe the emotion starts with anger, but then it leads somewhere else to frustration, to eventually like compassion, which is a weird thing to think, that you're hyper stressed or you've got pain. And then in the end, after going through the process, you end up having compassion for this thing causing you pain, which is bizarre, but it just shows that there's all these different parts of yourself that are have a purpose, really. And stress and bodily tension can just kind of drop off completely once you recognize it and label it, and see it. And then after these sessions, it could be immediate, but even days after, it's still there. It's like this weight is gone from yourself, and it opens up new energy just to take on new challenges, or just, it adds this extra like buoyancy to to your day, because you're no longer carrying this like stress energy or whatever energy, negative. You just release it. So yeah, for me, that's the massive like way to personal growth, is through releasing contractions. And they could be like just day to day, or they could be deeper from a childhood trauma or anything like that. It's really powerful to log what you're feeling and then go back with Troy through a session and work on it.
And it is really like, if I can say, Jack, it really is like taking handbrakes off, in that as we go about our day, our experience pushes us up against reality, and we do contract, and in that contraction we hold, like a lot of that energy is fired, and then we're holding it in our body. And I know from some of our sessions, if you don't mind me sharing, there's a real physical component to that where you can feel it in the body. But then as we go through and we underline, well, what's the underlying energy? What's actually going on here? And it's never somebody out there. It's not their fault. They've triggered something. The opportunity is to look inside and feel what part of you is actually feeling that. It's not actually you, the present I am. It's a part of you feeling that. And when we identify that, and like Jack said, we meet it, we meet that part of ourselves, we learn to meet ourselves in this moment. And in this moment, there's a part of you that's actually hurting, that's feeling this. And we're unconsciously resisting feeling it. But as we meet it and go, hey, I see you, I'm so sorry. I see you, young Jack, there. And you're feeling like hurt. And I can see why you felt hurt, because this happened to you. You're not alone anymore. I'm here with you now. And what is it that you need? And we unburden that part simply by meeting it and supporting it. And in that, the energy can be released. And like Jack says, it's like there's an expansion instead of a contraction again. And so we're no longer holding that energy in.
Yeah, and it also brings up the recognition that you have patterns in your life, negative or positive, but like just the session we did the other day, realizing like how I say work is so stressful, but it's not. It's my reaction to the work, and this is a pattern, and this is something that's been going on for too long. So to go into a session and realize that like eventually realizing, having all this tension and pain and stress, and then releasing that, and then kind of like laughing, realizing like, of course, things are how they are, positive or negative, because I keep repeating the patterns. So this contraction session was a way to like break the pattern and start anew. And maybe it takes one session, maybe it takes multiple, but it's incredible to just label it, recognize it, and realize there's a way to heal it.
Tell us a little bit about you, man, if you don't mind, just so we can get some context around who you are and what you do.
Yes. So I work as a web developer, as a coder, pretty high intensity. I do contract work, so work for myself, but take on some pretty big clients all around the world. And I work from home. I've got a pretty big setup of just monitors and lots of time in front of the computer. And it's not what I truly like. I don't want to be in a room full of computers all day. Like, I love the outdoors, I love nature, but you know, this is what I do. So a lot of stress comes from just meeting deadlines, getting things right, just working a lot when I don't want to. And so, yeah, I build this like tension inside that's like self-imposed, let's say. Like, there's nothing out there harming me. I'm not running from a tiger or anything like that. And yet I kind of put this stress and tension on myself. So yeah, like it's a lot of it comes through my professional life, which is just unwarranted. I need to have a better like perspective on and relationship with just work, and just things are how they are, and things get done when they get done, and life will be okay. But yeah, so it's a new thought patterns. It's lots of things through the sessions, like breathing, meditation, recognizing patterns, and yeah, just loving these parts that need attention, or shining light on them, and then giving them love and compassion, and seeing them for what they are. And yeah, once they're recognized, you can then realize, yeah, I have the power to make change.
The power to meet them in the moment. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate you sharing, man.
Yeah, no worries.
And
Thank you.
the work is challenging in that it can be uncomfortable to go into that. And like I said, over the last couple of days, we've been resisting it for a reason, because it is often an uncomfortable emotion. But as we learn to meet that emotion, as we learn to meet that part of ourselves, and be with that part of ourselves, and like the key that the work, a lot of work I do through the daily logs is helping people to build the habit of relating to their parts and not be the parts, to unblend, to realize that you aren't actually that experience. That happened in a moment years ago. And the thing is, it's stuck back there when you have been triggered and that part takes over this whole biology and neurology, then you're stuck back in the past and you can't be in this present moment. And so we learn to unburden that part, be with that part, so that you can be in the present moment, because this is where living's at. Like, this is where the gold's at. But it can take a habit, like, to do that. It's a new way of relating to emotions. It's a new way of thinking, in that a new way of relating to thoughts, sorry, a new way of relating to emotions. In not being the emotions, in not being the thoughts. So it can take some time, is what I'm saying. But what I see is, and Kelly mentioned this the other day, there comes a point where it just clicks, and I see it in the log, the language completely changed, and I can see that they're now relating, that they are more connected to the I am. And that's the whole gold. Like, that's, in being more of that is so important at the moment, because you connect to the present moment. In the present moment, you connect to the stillness, and in that stillness, you get a greater sense of who you really are beyond the conditioning. And then you get to play with the narrative. You get to heal the narrative. You get to then relate to the narrative in a new way and not be contracted into it. And then when that narrative gets threatened, it's like when the ego gets threatened, it causes pain. It triggers a pain. So we want to move beyond that. And so, like I said, today, I'm going to talk more about the healing component. With all process, I want to talk more about becoming exponential, which is what the program that I've been talking about. For those that are interested in going a little bit deeper and continuing the journey beyond the 5 days, I want to share some more about that, and we'll finish with observing the mind. But unresolved emotional wounds is what puts these patterns in play. And so we're learning to identify where we're holding those. And the beautiful thing is, there's evidence of it throughout the day when we learn to pay attention. And it feels like a contraction. We feel triggered. And the thing is, a lot of these patterns were formed between the ages of 0 and 5. Obviously, some are beyond those, but it's our internal code. And that's why the daily log is so powerful. It's an interoceptive look at what is the code that you're running. And a lot of this is being passed down generationally. And we can blame our parents, but essentially their parents passed it down to them, and their parents passed it down to them. And in most cases, they're actually doing better than their parents did. You know, we're moving, we're evolving for the most part, to a better place. And in here, we're learning a new way to relate to our emotions. And our thoughts, and so that we don't necessarily need to pass it on. But the awareness is, even if we had the best parents in the world, we would still have unresolved emotional wounds, because no one can meet us in the way that we need to be met through our adolescence and even up until now. No one can meet us in that way and provide the support that we needed at the time, except for us now, but retrospectively finding these parts of ourselves and meeting them and being there with them. And so it's a new way of relating, in that I feel like this is a unique point in human history, at least in the West, where we're no longer passing down our conditioning. We're learning to connect from the present moment, recognize the parts of ourself, like here, meeting those parts of ourself and healing those parts of ourselves, so that we can be more in the present moment and create a future that's unburdened from our conditioned past. I'm not sure if you appreciate the significance of that, but this is really profound, because we're no longer then unconsciously passing down our conditioning, because the brain is neuroplastic. We're healing from the past. We're no longer passing that down. And so as we move into an exponential, and I use that word intentionally, exponential future, and technology is taking us into an exponential future, we are ready to move exponentially with that, to grow exponentially, because we're unburdened by the things that are keeping us stuck in the past. And so this is really important work to do. And so how do we free ourselves from the past? Is we call it a process. And this is it's something that I've learned from internal family systems. It's something that I learned from Blaise Kennedy. He coined the term process and processing contractions. He's a healer from Canada. Brandon Bay's journey work has its roots in this process. So is there anybody that is interested or willing to just do a short process with me? We'll just take, 10 minutes and we'll just go through it. And if I can just explain what that looks like. Essentially what we do is we set up, we start with a short meditation. And in that meditation, we connect to the present moment and we connect to feeling. And so we do that through our senses. So we can feel, or we can hear, and even taste and smell, but they're less evident to me. Our eyes are closed, so not so much what we can see, but then what thinking, and we see if we can observe the thoughts. And so we realize then we're embodied. But then beyond that, we can move outside of ourselves and we can observe all that. And when we do that, we see all the change, the feelings, the thoughts, the sounds, it's changing, everything's arising. Then as we move outside of ourselves and we observe that, we realize that we're not actually doing any of that. We're able to sit in relative stillness and observe this change that's all unfolding. And we're not actually doing it. We're not actually doing the sounds. We're not actually doing the feelings. It's like we are able to just sit. And in that point, we become more the observer, which is the quality of I am. The quality of itself is what Richard Schwartz calls it. And so from that, we move back into our embodied awareness. We create a container, you and me, and we move into a shared container, a safe space, and we let it know to the parts of you that it's safe to actually be seen. And we're here to help, we're here to unburden, we're here to support. And so me, as the I am, as the observer, you, your present day you, as the observer, that part that's able to be outside and witness and watch and observe. We sit together And you connect. The invitation is for you to connect to a feeling, contraction. Where do you feel yourself contracted? And then you talk to that, you feel it. We go into that feeling. And it's like following the feeling, and insights will arise. Sometimes, sometimes not. Memories will arise. Sometimes, sometimes not. So it's about being in the moment and following it, and then connecting to the part. And often, but not always, it's linked to, connected to time in the past where you felt something similar to this contraction. And so then we meet that part. Along the way, we may meet manager parts that have been put in place to protect this part. And so we connect with those, we recognize those as well. Kel's just mentioned this changed my whole relationship with my kids. For that, I am forever grateful. Yeah. Yes. It changes our relationship with ourselves as well. It changes our relationship with the present moment. It changes our relationship with the world, because it's no longer the world's fault for making you feel a certain way. It's like the world is a reality. As you move out, you brush against it, it triggers feelings. But then the opportunity is look at, well, it's feeling inside me. There's a part of me that's feeling this, and it's a gift to know that, so that then we can learn to meet it and heal it and burn it. And as we do our meditation, as we do our positive personal development programs and all that, that's all great. But unless we do this work, we are still contracting into our narrative. We're still contracting into a story which is linked to the past. Is there anybody that's willing to bring something to a process that we'll just jump in on? If you are, maybe just, otherwise.
I don't think I understand it well enough yet, Troy.
No, that's okay. That's why it's good to demonstrate. I might ask Kelly if you're willing. We can just go through the process without going too super deep. I'm not sure. You don't have to put your video on, Kelly. Is that something that we could do together? Like, I know we've done this a number of times in the past, just to give the guys a sense of what it is.
Yeah, yep, I'm happy to do that.
Yep. And what we can do is maybe just connect to what you're feeling in this moment, or I'm not sure if there's a contraction that we could drop in on. What's present for you?
What's present for me actually is, for the first time, I went to bed last night with the intention of paying attention to my dreams.
Yes.
I actually just logged my dream this morning.
Yes.
I try not to, I've pushed them away, and now I know why. I had a horrible dream at about 2 o'clock, and I woke up filled with anxiety, and it's actually still there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I appreciate
I might get emotional.
Well, let's not go too deep into it, but I want to give the guys just a sense of what we do.
Yeah.
I might shortcut the little meditation that we do at the beginning, and we'll go into a container. So this is going to be a fast forward version of what we would do. Normally it would take anywhere between, it can take 30 minutes, generally an hour is enough to shift something. We don't have that time now. Thanks, Cal, for being vulnerable. And that's what it takes, is vulnerability. And I would ask everybody here just to really respect that. Obviously, what's shared in this container stays in this container, and we'll bring all of you into the container with us as a witness. So I'd ask you to have loving compassion and be sitting with that, knowing that Kelly is being super vulnerable. So we'll start, and we just start by connecting with the moment. And I like to do that through feeling. And typically I start at the feet, whether the feet are on the floor. And so we connect with the sensation of what that feels like. And then we move up, and we move up quickly through the body. We realize Or we connect with the feeling of clothes against our skin, maybe body itches, feeling of the chair against our body, air moving in and out of our lungs, moving up the flow of air, whether it's moving through the mouth or nose, right up to the top of the head. There may be more body itches. So we bring our attention to what we feel physically first. And we tune into what we can hear. There's things in our environment that trigger sound waves, and those sound waves are moving through the air to meet our eardrums. So we can become aware of those as they gently meet our eardrums without even extending out, trying to hear. But then we can extend our awareness out more broadly at what we can hear, more intentionally. So we're holding in our awareness what we feel, what we hear, and any smell or taste. A little bit more challenging, but what we're thinking. We watch the thoughts. We watch the mind. And then at the same time, we're able to move our attention outside of ourselves. And from a third person's perspective, we look back on our body and we see that the feelings, the sounds, the thoughts, all of that's arising without any direct input from us. We're able just to sit and watch it. To observe, to be that observer. And we note that the qualities of being this observer, when we're connected with it, are relatively still and calm. And that a lot of the change is happening within that experience of the body. So we're able to reconnect back with the body, with embodied awareness, and once again, be in the feeling, be in the thoughts. So at this point, I invite Kelly to feel and connect with my energy here in my embodied awareness, and I feel for hers, and with everybody else, we connect with your energies as well. And from the position of that observer, we move into a shared awareness. And so we find each other, we find all of ourselves in this shared space, a safe space. And we let it known to Kelly and her parts that this is a safe space, a space to be seen. And we're here to help. And so we make this a sacred container. And so Kelly, I invite you, if you can, just sharing what you're willing to share, what you're able to share about your experience and how that feels, and if there may be somewhere in the body that you feel it.
Yeah, I'm feeling scared.
Yeah.
Scared and anxious. It's like I'm a little bit shaky, and there's like this heavy knot of anxiety feeling in my stomach, and it's affecting my breathing even. Yeah, it's not pleasant.
So we recognize that there's a part of you that's feeling scared
Yeah.
and that's feeling anxious. And so we just be with that for a moment and just feel it without trying to change it. We're not here to fix, we're here to be with. And so as we connect with that part of you that's feeling scared and anxious, we just allow that feeling. I'm curious if there's any insights or any memories that come into your awareness that feel somewhat the same.
Yeah, it's being around my dad when he was not in a good space. Dad having one of his episodes, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we just be with that. Present day Kelly, the self, myself, and this younger part of you that's feeling that. Do you have any idea what age you might have been, or generally? Is there a period?
It's probably about
Yeah.
5 or 6, I'd say. Yeah, just a little girl.
Yeah. So we recognize that there's a little girl, Kelly, at 5. She's in a experience where her dad is having an episode. Are you able to share a little bit of what that looks like, what she's going through?
She's hiding. She's trying to hide. And he's trying to find her, yelling, and yeah, I'm just trying to be still and silent. Yeah, she's just huddled up, kind of hugging her knees, just trying to be quiet, just watching.
Yeah. And we see her,
Yeah, I do.
and we're here with her now. And we appreciate how it must have felt to have her dad, someone that she loved, having an episode to the point where she feels so afraid that she's hiding and trying to be so still so he doesn't find her. And to be alone in that, to be holding that by herself, feels like a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, especially for such a little girl.
Yeah. But she's not alone anymore. We're here with her. You're here with her.
I am. And it's being there with her is just a sense of relief. I just want to hold her hand.
And how does she feel about that?
It feels good to be seen and not be alone.
We can let her know that she's safe now. Her dad is not here. And that it is just us with her. Is there anything that you would like to say to her? Share with her.
I just want her to know that she didn't do anything wrong. I just want her to know that she's safe now. She doesn't need to be scared. She's all grown up now.
Yeah. Kelly is now 41.
She is.
And that she's not back there anymore. And then it's safe. She's safe and she's doing great.
She is.
How does she feel knowing that, learning that you're actually 41?
Giggling. It's quite sweet.
Yeah. It's a lot that she's been holding on to.
Yeah.
What does she need in this moment? What would she like? What is it that you could give her that she didn't get?
Just to know that she's safe and she's loved, and that everything's going to be okay.
And is there anything that we can do for her to help her feel safe and loved?
I just want to give her a big hug.
Is
and
that
let
what
her
she
know.
would like? A big hug?
A big hug, and
Yeah.
just to know that she didn't do anything wrong.
And we totally appreciate why she was feeling the way she was. It was a very dangerous situation. She didn't
Yeah.
feel safe. But if we could give her a hug.
Yeah, big hug.
Yeah. How does she feel about that?
I was just able to take a big deep breath. It's like it's like some of the tension, it's not there. Yeah, she just needed to know that she was safe and it wasn't her fault.
Yeah.
And it feels a lot more at ease.
Thanks, Kel. Let's let her know that you and I will tune in with her when we make a time, but potentially later, and to just reconnect and make sure that all's okay. Is there anything that you would like to say to her as we move out of this process?
Just for her to know that she's safe and she's loved.
Yeah.
And she's going to be okay.
Thank you, 5-year-old Kelly, for being to take on and holding on to that, but for all those years. Thank you, present day Kel. Thank you for both keeping you safe. So we'll invite you all. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, 5-year-old Kelly. And thank you, everybody, for holding such beautiful space for Kelly.
Thank you.
Part of Kelly. So that's an example of a process. In that instance, it went really smooth. Kelly's done this a number of times, and it's not always that smooth. The thing is, what we learn is that when we learn the process, we realize we're not trying to trick ourselves. When we learn the process, we become an active participant because we're actually looking to support those parts of ourselves. Sometimes they can be hidden between you and manager parts and firefighter parts. And so it can be like a little bit of a merry-go-round. It can be like a little bit of a merry-go-round, but it's also like nutgrass. I'm not sure if I grew up on a farm, and nutgrass is like you've got these different nuts, like a pops, but when you dig under the ground, you pull one and then you get all these other nuts that comes out at the same time. So what we learn is we can actually unburden and heal a lot of different parts in the one process, which is really interesting. Thank you so much, Cal, for your vulnerability. Appreciate you having the courage to do the work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's changed my life. Like I said, I think on Monday or Tuesday or whenever it was, it sucks. No one likes to relive these things. But finally I get to heal them and move on instead of just pushing them back down and suppressing them like I have my whole life. So as hard as it is, it's worth it.
Yeah. And the key part of this is not making them wrong, not trying to actually fix, you're trying to change. There are no bad parts. It's just meeting them where they're at with love and compassion. Go, I feel what you're feeling. I see you. And in that, it's like when you see a kid that skins its knee in the present day, what do they need? They need generally a hug and some love and compassion. And then that pain can go away. The pain moves through. It's the same thing with emotional healing. When we meet it with the right intention, it heals. So I just want to do a quick review. Like, do we get like the value of establishing a daily meditation practice, like learning to build a relationship with thoughts and emotions and not be contracted and caught in them? I hope that's a yes. I hope that we can appreciate the value of establishing daily meditation practice. I hope we can appreciate that the value of establishing sleep goals, that sleep is not just this thing. You know, we talked about it a couple of days ago where you close off, but there's a lot of richness in sleep. And by understanding what's happening in sleep, we can not only optimize our sleep for health, our health span and our lifespan, but also then start exploring dreams as a means to heal, exploring lucid dreams, the hypnagogic state for insights. The importance of establishing a new way of relating with thoughts and emotions so that we can learn to meet the present moment and meet the parts of ourselves. And I understand this is a new way of relating and it takes some time to create that habit, but super powerful. And then identifying where we're holding unresolved emotional wounds and then meeting that part of ourselves and unburdening that. And like Jack mentioned, it's like that physical contraction disappears and you get that energy back. Hel mentioned that not she could breathe again. And so we feel we regain vitality that's being locked. That's energy that we can then put towards becoming. And in that, like learning, connecting with that part of ourselves, being authentically you, like that's the gift that we be. The more we can be authentically ourselves and not be caught in the conditioned reality and what are the patterns that make us compare and make us feel bad, that keep us stuck in the wrongness of us. It's about really connecting with who we are. And I've been sharing like how we use technology to support that. I Am Connected as a platform is a technology that helps bring this together, but we use other things like Aura. You can use meditation device, but then also being a part of like a community of other Kellys and Jacks and Karas that are doing this work, that are healing and becoming and optimizing to be our best selves. And I understand this stuff is challenging. We're learning new habits. But I hope you can appreciate that it's important. Like this is for me, some of the most important work that we can be doing to know ourselves more completely and connect to that, and then start living a life from that space. And really, to a significant extent, it's awakening into who you really are. It's on the path to becoming. And the opportunity is for me to do this with you. And I want to talk about that. I've been talking a little about the Becoming Exponential program. So I just wanted to take a moment to share more about what that is. And what is becoming exponential? Like I appreciate that. So for me, what becoming exponential is becoming more of this. It's shifting our identity away from the narrative, the limited, contracted story that we have in our heads, and reconnecting with that part of us that is connected to everything. It's connecting to the energy that's all around us. To a significant extent, we've resisted feeling for so long that we've pushed ourselves up into our head, and then we're caught in the narrative. And so we're learning once again to feel again and connect to the aliveness that's all around us. And as technology takes us into a future that's going to evolve quicker and quicker, and we see how quickly things have evolved over the last 50, 100 years, it's going to continue to accelerate. We've got tools and technologies like artificial intelligence, like virtual realities, virtual worlds. And if we're not connected to a sense of who we are as we move into these virtual worlds, that suffering is going to intensify. And so the opportunity now is to reconnect to who you are. What is I am? It's like the realization that you're everything and you're nothing. And it's not a cognitive thought process, it's actually a felt sense day to day of being connected to the energy. The realization that you can't actually die. In a physical sense, sure, you can change forms, but when you're connected to the energy, and I know this may be a big concept for a lot of you, is that when you're connected to the energy, you realize energy can't be created nor destroyed, it just transforms. And so ultimately, it's exploring this I am. Who are you? So what's in the program? It's got everything that you need to get started the right way and set up for success. Like I've spent over 20 years working, exploring the inner landscape. And I've had to, like I mentioned, I suffered earlier. And so you can think of this as like a massive shortcut, like a giant shortcut. So you get to not have to make the same mistakes that I did to go down the wrong paths. It's like knowing what to do and the support and infrastructure to do it. Like I Am Connected as a platform is purpose built to support this journey. And so it's a 6-month online program, but we start with the 6-week intensive. So I appreciate what you're saying. I don't have time for a 6-month program. We have a 6-week intensive where we focus a lot more. We build like the foundations. And then from there, it's about embodying them and building on them. So there's, sorry, one sec. So it's a six-week course, and we've already shared some of the modules of the course. We have, meditation, recovery. So we go deeper into these, and we not just talk about them, we work towards embodying them as part of like becoming, like when we look at, meditation, sleep and recovery, we actually do the work. All the way through from patterns, forgiveness, beliefs, and habits. It's delivered in a small group. So we build that community. Then you have lifetime access to those recordings so that you can go back to again and again and again. So that's total value is like $3,500. And so, like I said, we go deep into each of these modules and apply them for meditation, sleep and recovery, patterns, forgiveness, beliefs, and habits. These are all. But the first two, meditation, sleep and recovery, we learn to start observing what's actually happening in the external world and what's actually happening in our sleepscape. And from there, we move more into expanding where we've contracted into our patterns. We learn to expand. And the same, forgiveness is a key part of that. Without forgiving, when we get caught in the narrative, forgiving ourselves and forgiving others, like how do we actually do that? And our beliefs shape our reality. Do your beliefs support who you're becoming, or is there incongruency there? And then what habits do you need to develop to become who you're here to become? And so I really want you to be successful at this. I really, like, it's the gift that you be in this form, is to be who you are and why you're here. And so you get me as well. So I'm here to hold your hand through this every step of the way, to help you to develop these new habits and to heal. And a key part of this is to realize that a lot of it's already inside, because we're just building the habits to be able to connect to them. So here's what I'm offering. So it's the 6-week intensive, and we do a deep dive into those modules. So that's $3,500. We have, so they're delivered in a group setting and they're live. So there's interaction. What I've learned, which is new for this new program, is that we're going to have another catch up. So it's first one, an hour and a half, but then we'll have another catch up where we do meditation training. But think of it like, if you've ever been to university, there's a lecture and then there's a tutorial. In the tutorial, you do the work. So together we actually do the homework to make sure that you're actually getting it done. And so we catch up and we do like a tutorial setting to support you to do the work. Total value for that is $2,000. So it makes it 5.5. Daily accountability and support via your daily log. So for me, I'm going to be reading your logs. It's letting me on the inside so that you're no longer alone trying to navigate through this. It's supporting you to develop these new habits, this new way of relating to your thoughts and emotions. So that's like, whenever you do your log, the invitation is to do it daily. $4,000, so $5,000. I know what you might be saying. I'm not good at doing things like that, doing the daily log, having the consistency. I don't have time. But my experience is, as people get into it, they do it, and they see the value of it because it's a daily reflection point. And to know that I'm there to support as well, like this becomes like the straightest line from A to B, as opposed to having to spin around, being caught in your patterns. And like I said, in one of the earlier days, is you can't see your patterns often because you're caught in them. It's like having somebody that cares about you, that's wanting to support you, that helps to be that reflection point to say, hey, I think you're sticking yourself here. There's a pattern here that we're caught in. And so then we do a weekly contraction release session every week for those 6 weeks. We catch up and we dive deep into doing that. And some of the big ones you do need support to be able to process. But a key part of this is learning how to meet yourself. So what am I feeling? What part of me is feeling this? And so some of these ones you can't actually process yourself. Some of the bigger ones, it's harder and you need somebody else, like a witness, to help facilitate, because there's so much emotion there. But some of the other ones, you'll learn this process of how to meet yourself. So I know we were up to, $11,500, and that's not what I'm asking you to pay the value of this program. But I just want you to highlight, like, I've spent a lot of time and I've put a lot of effort into creating this, and it's a transformation, 6-week intensive with a 6-month overarching. Beyond the 6 weeks, we move more into a mastermind for the 5 months, where we catch up weekly. And so it's a weekly catch up together, and we're still exploring. And what we're more recently doing is we're actually processing what's alive for you in the moment. So if you come to the mastermind with a contraction, we can process that for you. And we're learning to actually process each other in that. And so in that, you have the opportunity to then start sharing your logs with your other team members as well. So you're building community, you're building your support structure around you. And yeah, I appreciate, like, we're now $13,500, but like I mentioned, I'm not asking you to pay the value of this. There's an Aura ring. We use Aura as a key piece of kit, so it includes an Aura ring. This is like a bonus. Like for me, I want to be working on this for the next 20 years is what I say to people. Why 20 years? I feel like in 20 years time, technology is going to become sentient and no one knows where the world's going to go within 20 years. But until that point, and a key part of this is we want to be, in terms of becoming exponential, we want to be ready for that point when technology does become sentient. And goodness knows where it's going to take us, but we will be ready because we'll be connected to the present moment. We'll be living our best life as our authentic self. And so you'll be acknowledged as a lifetime member, the foundation member, and given lifetime access to the platform, which is huge. And like I said, how I value this at $4,000, I say $200 a year for 20 years, $4,000. So total value, $18,000. Another piece of kit, which I just love, and if we had more time, I'd tell you more about how I use this, but it's Positive Prime. It's a, think of like as a vision board on steroids. I've used this to manifest some amazing things. So as we move more into, the beliefs component, how do we influence our unconscious, our brain, based on what we understand about the science of it in a positive way, in terms of creating the things that we want to see in the world. So we use Positive Prime as a key piece of kit that you'll get a 12-month subscription to. And we talk more about that when we go into beliefs and habits that we want to embed. So it's like a vision board on steroids. It activates the reticular activating system. And maybe tomorrow I'll share a story about how I manifested some really cool things relevant to transformative tech. So it's $200. That's actually US price. What I'm quoting here is Aussie dollars. So for anybody that's interested in this, that's overseas, just being aware that I'm actually quoting Aussie dollars here. So here's a summary one last time, what I'm offering. So we do the 6-week intensive. We catch up and we talk about that, and we do the actual homework together, and we do meditation training. You get daily support via the log by me for 6 weeks. We do a weekly contraction release session. From there, we move into beyond the 6 weeks into a 5-month mastermind where you catch up with the people that you've journeyed with. You get an aura ring, like I said, previously, is that we do this in a small group. You get lifetime access to the I Am Connected platform. You become foundation member. And so, like I said, we're going to continue to journey deeper and deeper into a greater becoming. And so you'll be along that journey with us. 12-month access to Positive Prime. Total value is $18,306. I mentioned before, like I'm not asking you to pay the value of this. The thing is, the value of doing it in a group is that we can make it accessible for more people. But the thing is, in doing it in a group, it is an intimate relationship, and I can only work with 6 people at a time. So there's an invitation for 6 people to come on this journey with me. We have 55 people registered for this challenge, watching the recordings. So we do have limited spaces. So for the first 6 people, this is what program is. This is the journey that we will continue on together, including the aura ring. You're looking at $3,997 for a 6-month program with a 6-week intensive, where we're working towards creating this shift for you, where you're meditating every day, where we're optimizing your sleep, where you're relating to the parts of you in a new way, where you're learning, where we process some of the big ones, but you're learning to also process yourself. You can be in a community of other people that are doing this. We use technology to support. You have lifetime access to the platform. So you'll become like one of my VIP people as we continue to build out I Am Connected. So if you're interested in this, to continue the journey into you, go to this link here. You can find a little more information there, but there's a Calendly booking form where you can book in a session, consult with me, and we can talk about if the program is going to be a right fit for you. And so that's the invitation if you want to continue on this journey. Obviously, we've still got tomorrow, which is a really cool day around beliefs and habits. And I'm excited to share that with you. But I'm also aware that some of you want to go deeper into this, and this is the invitation to do that. And I'd be, stoked if anyone is interested in that. But like I said, I do only have, because it's such high touch, and to bring my best to each one of you, we have to limit it to 6 people. I appreciate that we've gone a little over, but at the point now where I wanted to do the next level of meditation. I love going. I'll send through a link in the wrap up with this recording where you can book in a time to chat more about it. But imconnected.com/6WC. And so we've been building our meditation stack, all of them powerful interventions in their own right, from releasing tension, and we felt the benefit of that, from right breathing as a powerful tool to influence our biology, to releasing emotion. And today we're going to start looking at observing the mind. And how do we actually do that? And so, again, like when you listen to the recording, this is essence number 4. I encourage you to do that. It's a 20-minute meditation practice. Well, we won't spend 20 minutes today, but I just want to give you a sense of what it is. And so it's at this point where we use a focal point. And the focal point can be, I think we recommend like a mantra. So it might be something that you want to focus on. Do I want more peace? Do I want more love? And we use that as our focal point. Thanks, Zenny. Thanks, everybody that's got a bounce. I appreciate you. And so in using that focal point, we use that as an anchor. And so a mantra is a word or a phrase that we say over and over again. And so say we're using peace, it's like peace. And we're holding our attention on that. Peace, 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 peace. And then as we find ourselves in a thought, we just gently bring ourselves back to our mantra and we resume. And so we use it as a tool to be able to hold our attention on a certain point. And in this, we start building a relationship with the mind. We start being able to observe the mind because we see how quickly we can get drawn into a story. And then we gently bring it back. Peace, peace. And then we get drawn into a story and then we gently bring it back. And we reset, we refocus on our attention, on our mantra. We refocus our attention. And then we get drawn into a story again. So let's just, we'll do this for 5 minutes. Normally we would do the other ones, like releasing tension quicker. The recording takes it through quite quickly now. We don't do the tensing up anymore. And then we connect in, well, what am I feeling? And then it's like we connect to the breath and we start that as a slow rhythm in the background. And then we move into this phase. So the invitation is to close your eyes and just choose a word or a phrase that you would like to use as a mantra. The golden rule is that you can change your mantra from meditation to meditation, but not within the same meditation, because that's just the mind skipping around, second guessing. So choose a word or a phrase and just bring your attention to that. And it can help to see it and feel it if that works for you and doesn't work for everybody. It's like connecting to it and just using it and saying it over and over again. Just holding your attention on it. And in this, you start becoming aware of thoughts and how they want to drag you into a story. I've got to think about, getting ready for work. I've got to think about the kids. I've got to ever is present. We hold our attention on the mantra. So we can recognize the thoughts, but we don't attach to them. We let them go like birds flying through the sky. We don't try to catch them. We don't push against them. We just allow them. We just hold our attention on the mantra. Inevitably, you'll get drawn into a story, and that's okay. Then when you realize that you were lost in thought and you'd lost your mantra, that's a gift. It's like, hey, I'm aware. I was aware that I was in thought. I was in the mind. And you bring it back. You connect to your mantra again. You reset, refocus. Keeping that slow breath, your right breathing in the background. If you find your attention's drifted into thought, you just gently bring it back and reconnect to your mantra. Being gentle with yourself. And in this, we can see how often we have such little control over our attention and how it's so easily consumed. Our attention is our power. So all of what we've been doing is learning to take back our power, take back our attention, learning around the nuances of different brainwave states and how different states the mind is not active. And so we're able to dwell more easily in the stillness. So we're learning to build a relationship with the mind, not be consumed by the mind, not be consumed by thoughts, not be consumed by our emotions. And so we practice. I'm here to support you. I want you. I want this for you. So for now, I invite you back to the present moment. And as we finish this short meditation practice, we move slowly so as not to spill any calm that we've created. In your own time, you can open your eyes, or you may choose to stay in meditation practice. Does anybody have any questions? Whether on process, whether on the program, whether on the meditation? Otherwise, I will love you and leave you, and I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. I love the belief session. It's interesting how what we believe shapes what we can see and experience. Yeah. Ruben, did you want to say something?
No, I was just going to say thanks, Troy. It was another good session.
Welcome. Yeah, it can be at this point we realize, oh, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's actually can be uncomfortable allowing that energy to be released. On the other side of that is what we're looking for. Felt sense of connection to the moment, the stillness, the aliveness of just being, wholeness. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, big love, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bad
All right.
time. Pick up the work, do your practice. Good work, Ivan. Leading the way. Rushing it.